Is Sony having trouble producing the PlayStation 5? Let's dig in. It's fair to say that we're in the middle of the console wars. Both companies, Microsoft and Sony, have announced most of their specs. Now, we don't know the exact price points or release dates and all the details, but we know the vast majority of information relating to both consoles. And when this is like right when things really get, fired up, if you will, because people are talking about games, they're talking about specs, they're talking about T-flops and all that other good stuff. But there's a lot of logistics that have to go on behind the scenes that go from, design and development to production to shipping it to getting it to store to where you can actually give dollars and go home, take the console and hopefully play a box that doesn't overheat or crash or whatever else. A lot of things go on. And there's been a couple reports out, two of them from Bloomberg, talking about Sony having some issues specing or acquiring the higher price parts for the PlayStation 5, and also talking about price point. But they came out with a post this morning that says that Sony is planning to produce between 5 and 6 million units of the PS5 in the fiscal year ending March 2021. That sounds like a lot of consoles, but then Bloomberg does a good job of putting it in perspective, and they said when the PlayStation 4 launched in November of 2013, it sold 7.5 million units. So there's a couple ways to look at this. Is Sony thinking, hey, not as many people are going to be buying the PlayStation 5? Honestly, not a bad thought, potentially. I mean, you look at the market, you look at the economy, you look at how everything is going, and yeah, I mean, it's not unreasonable to assume that this fall or winter or whenever, later this year when it ships, people may not have the cash to splash down $400 or more for a brand new console. That is not an illogical thought at this time, and this could be just Sony saying, hey, look, you know what, that's how we read the market, that's what we're going to ship, and that's what we're going to plan for. It's not a bad thought. Or you could look at it as Sony going, hey, we can't get enough parts, and this is all that we think that we're going to be able to produce, and this is what you should prepare for. It's hard to tell where we are at in this life cycle. Now, I do want to qualify all of this. Every single time a new product launches, you hear it every single time with iPhones. You'll hear it this summer around like July time that Apple's having issues getting parts for the next generation iPhone, and they might be delayed or shipped or whatever. It happens with every major launch, and I fully expect that Microsoft articles might come out like that too, that's saying, hey, Microsoft can't get XYZ part and is having trouble getting the next generation console up and running. This is not unusual news. So I'm trying to put it into context to make you understand that, hey, this isn't necessarily like a stab at Sony. This is just how the market works. And producing 5 to 6 million consoles is not a small number. I mean, that's pretty sizable in the console space, considering that you think about that the PlayStation 4 just passed 100 million, which granted is a massive number, but to ship 5% of that in the first 2 quarters, that's a sizable portion. So just keep all that in mind. We're still hearing a lot of varying things about pricing. This particular post says, hey, it could be in the region of $499 to $549 for the PlayStation 5. If the PlayStation 5 is going to cost $499 to $549, it makes me a little nervous about what the Series X could come in at without Microsoft potentially subsidizing some of the price of the console, because at $499 for a PlayStation 5, and we already know that Microsoft has a lot more beef under the hood, there's no way that Microsoft would be able to match that price point dollar for dollar at the performance characteristics that they are outputting. So pricing is going to be very, very sensitive here, and I would not read too much into this, because as we've known in previous console generations, companies have subsidized consoles when they come out of the gate to help keep that price at a lower, a more palatable price point, if you will. And given, like I said before, the economy and how things are going and the issues that are happening just globally with logistics and manufacturing, things are not there. While we already have a different what run of show or how things are playing out in the gaming industry, given the circumstances of everything going on, there is no normal. There is absolutely no normal going forward how things are going to shake out, and we'll have to see how Microsoft handles the logistical challenges that are coming. Sony this again is not explicitly verified by Sony. This isn't something that Bloomberg typically slants in either direction. It appears to be pretty fact-based. So there you go, guys. Look for some limited information coming out more about PlayStation's development challenges. I've been hearing some other things going on, but again, this all just sounds like early console generation stuff. Nothing that I'm overly worried about. Sony has a pretty good track record of figuring it all out, and so does Microsoft. But as news comes out, I will keep you all updated. We'll catch all of you right back here next time.